Someone said to me yesterday, I was at an event and I was talking to someone. He said, it's really scary that when you see people who are otherwise intelligent, start to spew stuff that is it's not just anti-Semitic, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be a nutcase to really. You are listening to the JP Show,
where we discuss the issues you care about from a Jewish perspective.
I am Rabbi G.
And I am Rabbi Levi.
And we hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the JP Show. This week we're not in fancy costume. That was last week in honor of Purim. This week we're just good, so welcome back. Wherever you are, please subscribe or leave a review. And I think it's not Purim, we're not in fancy dress, but we probably still feel the effects a little bit.
Still tired and...
a bit knocked out, jet-lagged from Purim. Otherwise, it's been an exciting week here with lots of different things happening.
Now we're in Pesach mode.
Pesach mode, ooh. Don't get people nervous.
No, there's nothing to be nervous about. It's a great time, Pesach.
It is. And Pesach programs, Pesach shiurim. Incidentally, if you don't have matzahs for Pesach, shmura matzah, please let us know. Big mitzvah to eat shmura matzah on the first night of Pesach and second night. You like matzah?
Yeah, matzah is good. I love matzah. Never had a problem with it.
Yeah, me neither. It has a problem with me, but I
That's right.
But I don't have a problem. No, it's great.
All right, so totally unrelated to Pesach. Or maybe it is related. I don't know. We'll find out. So we all know that we've spoken about this many times, that anti-Semitism is on the rise. There's no question about that. Particularly in the online space. I try not to follow these things too much. It can, sort of mess with your head, and you just get absorbed in it. And it's much better to focus on bringing light and doing mitzvahs 100%. And learning Torah and doing all those type of things. But nevertheless, things pop up and things go viral. So last week there was this viral in a negative sense, this monologue from a big podcaster in America by the name of Tucker Carlson, who I don't watch on a regular basis, who's become extremely anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, interviews all types of interesting people. And he came up with a whole theory that the Iran war that we're currently experiencing was pushed and started by Chabad. This is his new theory. Just to explain the theory, because it takes a little bit of mental gymnastics to understand it. So he said that on the IDF uniforms, there's different patches people wear. And one of the patches is a picture of the temple. And therefore, he decided that the driving force behind the war is this desire that a Musal should hit the Al-Aqsa Mosque and pave and clear the way, which is obviously on Temple Mount, and pave the way to build the third temple. And he, I guess, did some Googling or ChatGPTing or whatever you call it nowadays about who pushes for the building of the third temple, and he decided that it's the Chabad movement who is very into rebuilding the third temple, and therefore it must be them. And he says they're very influential and all that, so it must be them that push for this war. Now, the actual theory is obviously crazy and anti-Semitic in the sense that it's classic notion that Jews control the world and Jews are dangerous and other people in his space and people who support him also responded with similar sentiments, crazy theories about Chabad. And
I never realized Chabad was so powerful.
I know, it's pretty crazy stuff.
They run wars.
But I guess the question is, the third temple is a real thing. It's something we believe in. We pray for it at the very least 3 times a day, even more actually. We say a statement called Sheyibana Beit HaMikdash B'mheira B'yameinu, which means that the temple should be rebuilt speedily in our days.
Which incidentally, Chabad is not the only one that says that.
Yes, that's the first thing. I guess that's the first mistake he got, was that actually it's not Chabad who yearns for the third temple. This is a core Jewish belief. The Rambam says it's one of the 13 principles of faith. You have to believe in Mashiach. And as the Rambam puts it, a big part of Mashiach, in fact, the central part of Mashiach, is the rebuilding of the third temple. because without the third temple, we can't keep many of the mitzvot that we have, all the sacrifices and all that type of stuff. So this is a core tenet of our belief. Everyone believes that. So I guess, is he wrong in the sense? Like, are we all going tomorrow morning to Temple Mount? I mean, let's say, I don't know. Let's say a missile from Iran would misfire and hit the Alaska mosque. Would we go up now and rebuild the third temple? That's something we're going to do. Is that?
So the whole thing is just like, the whole thing is ridiculous. First of all, before we get into the question, someone said to me yesterday, I was at an event and I was talking to someone. He said, it's really scary that when you see people who are otherwise intelligent, like start to spew stuff that is like just, it's not just anti-Semitic, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be a nutcase to really. So it's just amazing how people can be swayed and influenced, and it's just.
Yeah, this person has millions of followers. I mean, it's like.
Which is very sad, yeah. So.
And scary, yeah.
Also, when they base something on something, so all these anti-Semitic monologues and presentations and all that, they always find something that has like a kernel, in a way, has a kernel of truth. You know what I mean, right? But like completely out of context, it reminds you of the people that write articles to show how terrible the Talmud is, and they take sentences from the Talmud. The Talmud is racist, the Talmud is this, and the Talmud is that. And you look in the references, they're just completely out of context. They don't even know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So if you went into a Jewish preschool, maybe Chabad even in particular, you might hear kids singing a song, which is based on the prayer that you mentioned before, which we pray every day at the end of the Amidah, that God should rebuild the third temple speedily in our days. And they talk about, they have even hand motions. They say, build the bit. Like we're building the temple and we're making every good thing we do is another brick. And if you don't know what you're talking about and you don't know what you're observing, you might actually really think that we're actually into building the temple, right? It so happens to be, it's really interesting because, so let's say what is true. What is true is, like you said, it is fundamental in Jewish faith to believe in the coming of Mashiach, which we hope will happen soon. And part of that is the rebuilding of the third temple. Let's not forget, Temple Mount is ours, right?
It's called Temple Mount.
Temple Mount, because they had the two temples there long before Islam was ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
Right? So, and they even found objects from the second temple and so on. So, yeah, that's a Jewish belief. It so happens to be that there are different views of how the building of the third temple actually come about.
Yeah.
And Chabad is actually from the furthest of the people that say that it's actually going to be a movement physically going on the Temple Mount. Right? No, so we're actually not going anywhere near.
Because based on what Maimonides says, what the Rambam says, that it needs to be Mashiach, needs to be the one to rebuild
No,
it.
for a few things. First of all, it has to be Mashiach.
Yeah.
Mashiach will be involved. Second of all, we actually believe it's already built in heaven. It's going to come down from heaven.
Correct.
It'll be divinely built. And we are not going anywhere near the Temple Mount. In fact, we have a practice, among many communities, we don't even go on Temple Mount.
Yeah.
Right? We believe it's sacred, and it's ours, and it belongs to us, and so on. But it's because we're not.
That doesn't mean it should be in other people's control.
No, of course not.
To be clear.
No, it just means that it means that we're not so pure today, and therefore you have to be a certain level of purity.
Yeah.
So we yearn for the Beis Hamikdash, we yearn for the temple, but we're waiting for Mashiach to do it. Whether Mashiach himself is going to build it, or it's going to come from heaven, whatever the case is, or a combination of both, as the Lubavitch Rebbe once explained. But we're not building a physical temple right now. We're not going to knock down any existing buildings there and build the Beis Hamikdash. When Mashiach comes, there will be a Beis Hamikdash. How that will play out, it's going to be a different existence. When Mashiach comes, everyone will facilitate. We believe everyone will understand that the Jewish people are eternal people. Everyone will understand that the capital of eternal capital of Israel, Yerushalayim, is Jerusalem. And they'll facilitate, they'll help us. It's not going to, what they'll do with their things, that's whatever, that'll work itself out.
Yeah.
That's not the focus at all. So it's just an absurdity. But it's important to realize that we actually do yearn for the building of the third Beis Hamikdash. Is it a real thing? That is true. And maybe, we say the Baal Shem Tov, we say everything you have to learn a lesson from. Maybe this absurdity is sending us a reminder. Like that we should be praying for the third temple, we should be yearning for the coming of Mashiach and be able to serve God in a proper and a glorious way like they used to in the time of the temple and so on, right? So
and in a sense, what is correct is not only that we yearn for a time that we'll build the third temple, but like you said, part of our belief is that what we do does bring it closer, just not literally physically building bricks.
Yeah, so exactly.
That's
So when the
right.
kids sing that song, what they mean is we believe every mitzvah you do is another brick, meaning it's causing another
Figuratively
brick
speaking,
to be
yeah.
built or come down. It's strengthening
It brings it closer.
Brings it closer, the coming of Mashiach and the building of the temple.
And therefore, what is true is that in a general sense, the objective of everything that we do, every mitzvah we do, every good deed we do, is to bring about that time.
Yeah.
Not because for selfish reasons, but because that is what God wants. That is the ultimate way of serving God, is in a temple in Jerusalem, in Israel.
Correct. I mean, it's coming up Pesach now, right? Pesach, on the night of Pesach of the Seder, many people maybe missed this because it's in Hebrew. We actually, just before we drink the second cup, after we've recited the Haggadah, we make a blessing, and we ask Hashem that Mashiach should come, and we'll be able to do Pesach properly, which means we're able to bring the Korban Pesach, the Paschal Lamb, as an offering, and have a Beis HaMikdash. We'll be able to eat the Paschal Lamb as it was brought as a Korban in the temple.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
So yes, we are building the Beis HaMikdash, spiritually speaking. We are yearning for the Beis HaMikdash, but we certainly did not start the war in Iran in order to bring about the Beis HaMikdash. That's just crazy.
Let's just go a little deeper for a moment, right? Let's just move away from anti-Semites for a moment. Let's actually talk about the actual idea. Why is it, I briefly mentioned before, but why is it such a central prayer that we say more than 3 times a day? Actually, we say at the beginning of the morning prayer as well.
Yeah.
We should merit that the third temple should be rebuilt. I mean, is that really what we're missing in our life? It's a nice building. What's that all about?
So the Beis HaMikdash wasn't just a building, and won't be just a building. It's a place of tremendous divine consciousness, divine revelation. You feel godliness there, and you also serve God there it's interesting. On the one hand, it's the most godly place. On the other hand, that's where you serve God in the most physical way. Let's understand that today we serve God through prayer. Prayer is a substitute for sacrifices.
Right.
Now, we can go into sacrifices at a different time. That's a big question. But whatever it is, was in the temple, there weren't so many prayers. It was more physical expression, rituals of serving God, which happened in the temple, right? So the ultimate purpose of a Jew, the ultimate purpose of the world, really, is to have divine consciousness, to have divine feeling, to have divine revelation, and to bring God into the very physical, which is everything that the Beis HaMikdash embodies. It's a place which will have the full revelation of God, an actual home for God, as we say, which then spreads out to the rest of the world, that the whole world will be elevated to be much more of a godly place. Coming at the back of all the stuff we've done now in the times of exile, where we prepared the world for a godly revelation that way. And also we'll go back to serving God in the proper way. Like, you have to understand that today we talk about 613 mitzvahs, right? We don't do most of those mitzvahs because a lot of them have to do with the temple. And we yearn for the time that we can make our lives so God-centered that actually we are properly serving God and having time to learn Torah and so on and so forth, as the Rambam explains. Yeah, so it's an expression of the ultimate wish of a Jew.
It'll definitely be a lot busier. Think about Erev Pesach, everyone's very busy shopping and doing things for the Seder. You have to dedicate like a good few hours to go to the temple and bring a lamb and roast the lamb and all that type of stuff. Yeah. What do we do about all these crazy people? He's not the only one, unfortunately. There's crazy people with a lot of big followings, and they're definitely influencing young minds. Do we just ignore it? Do what we have to do? There's not really much we could do about it.
Look, I don't know. You can't. People who believe in the stuff, it's very hard to influence them otherwise, because it's insanity. So you can't really improve on insanity. I don't know what I mean. Someone believes something is a rational, structured argument, and someone's really good at understanding why it's wrong, so you can do that. You can dismantle argument, but that's just insanity. It's not.
Yeah.
Right? But I guess what we can do is we can take it as a sign. Like, we should really reflect, I think. It's a reminder. What does it really mean? What are we really doing? Like, are we shedding light? Are we building the Beis HaMikdash in a spiritual way so the Beis HaMikdash can come quicker? And all of that.
Wonderful. All right. May we merit the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash.
Very soon.
Have a great day, everyone.
See you next week.